Thanks for joining us for another Rider Nation Station presentation, brought to you through the generosity of the following fine sponsors: Buffalo Wild Wings, Miller's Funeral Home, Eagles Lodge 767, Rabel's Auto Service, Plus One Professionals, Hoglaze Equipment Rentals, Midway Trailers, American Legion Post 323, Albert Sporting Goods, Family Audiology, Speckman Automotive, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Spees Chiropractic, Varsity Lanes, Minster Bank, VFW Post 9289, Quinary Pizzeria, Fowler's TV, and Lock Performance.
The 70s saw environmental movements, the New Right, fighting for women's rights, the Watergate scandal, bell-bottoms, 8-tracks, Jackson Browne, Donna Summer, Marvin Gaye, Pink Floyd, Van Halen, and Queen. The 70s saw some pretty rad vernacular. I saw life in the 70s, and the 70s saw the Big Red Machine. What a decade. And we're going to put emphasis on the 70s today with our guest, Mr. Jeff Ginner from the MHS class of 1976. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
Let's cut to the chase. Give us a skinny on the class of 76 having a party, a social, a fundraiser on May 6th right here at the Grand.
Well, on Saturday, May the 6th, from 5 to 10, the class of 76, partnering with the Friends of the Theater, will be holding a 70s theme event evening with great entertainment, a lot of drink and food, and just a lot of good social going back to those great days of the 70s.
It's great to remember the 70s, you know, a very hip and funky period that I have a little bit of memory of, but not so much on the on the drink part of it. But looking forward to flashing back a little bit there. What kind of entertainment do you have for folks to enjoy?
Well, we've got a DJ for the evening. We thought that would be the best way to cover the music of the 70s because the music was so diverse, and we want to be able to entertain everyone.
Somebody may want to hear the Rolling Stones or Pink Floyd, but then somebody may want to hear Olivia Newton-John. So that may be tough for a band to cover that wide range of music there. Who's your target audience?
Our target audience is the classes of the 70s.
Okay.
We really wanted to reach out to them. So many of the classes of the 70s have become part of the St. Mary's Community Foundation, offering up scholarships and things of that nature, and that's what we've done in the past year. And we wanted to take an opportunity to get together and talk about ways to partner, supporting things in St. Mary's and things like the theater.
So this just isn't a couple-hour social event. This is really meant to bond people together, to make the community as best as it can be, and leave a legacy behind.
Exactly. All of us have talked for some time about how growing up in the 70s in St. Mary's in a small community like this was such a positive. It sets so many of us on a successful path, and we want to find those ways to support what the school, what the community is doing in that favor in 2023.
Awesome, which is St. Mary's' bicentennial year, so a huge milestone year for St. Mary's, Ohio. It isn't solely, the event isn't solely benefiting the theater. You've got your class fund that we'll talk about here in a second. But why was it important to incorporate and include the Grand as part of your project on May 6th?
Well, as our process of deciding what we're going to support, the class of 76, we had a brainstorming session and everything. And when we talk community, the theater was by far the number one thing brought up that we wanted to support. And I think the reason why is it was such a key piece of downtown and for us growing up. I mean, so many of us, attended the as kids, the afternoon matinees that they had here, the kids shows, and then as junior highs, we came here as the group dates, if you remember.
I
the
do.
Guys and the girls, and then so many of us. Our first date was at the St. Mary's Theater.
And that has been one of the most pleasurable things of being involved, of bringing the Grand back together, is hearing from some of our senior members of the community, or those who actually have traveled from afar, who used to live here or come here, and point that seat right there is where it all started, as their spouse is right next to them. And that's pretty special that this place has that memory. We showed Blue Hawaii last weekend, and we had a couple travel from eastern Auglaize County that they didn't see it here, but that movie was their first date, and when they saw that it was going to be playing, they made certain that they were here. So this really is a special place, and it's kind of the anchor of downtown, and we need to bring it back as being the anchor of downtown. Who were some of your members of the class of 76 that are helping you out with this event, Jeff?
We've got several members as far as our leadership team. Nan Folklarmer, Linda Zimmerman, Peg Speckman, Steve Stroh, Bill Krug, and that's just to name a few. We formed a fundraising team, and then our scholarship selection team is headed up by Joe Burke. And so we've got a lot of members, not only locally, but we've included those from all over the country to share their input as we move forward.
And that's vitally important right there as well, is the nexus. No matter where people went after high school, this is their hometown. That high school and the whole school system meant a lot to them, and so you need to keep that connection. And hopefully they do come back, and hopefully they come back every year. But of all years, St. Mary's Bicentennial is very, very important to come back. You've mentioned that there is a scholarship fund, and that the numerous classes of the 70s are kind of helping lead the way of classes behind them, such as the 80s, which I belong to, that, hey, this is a good way of giving back, is setting up a fund through the St. Mary's Community Foundation and helping our graduates as they pursue their next step. And can you talk a little bit about that, as far as how that got initiated and how that's helped out MHS grads?
Yes. I think, the opportunities to have assistance for wherever you're deciding to move on to. For us, there was a lot of secondary education opportunities, and we wanted to be a little unique. That's something about our classes. We strive to be unique, and we know the opportunities out there today in the trade and technical world,
yes,
and even in just getting certification in certain things. And I know that for so many of our class members, that was really important. Now, many of us, work full time in factories, and then we saw downturns and layoffs, and we were able to take those trades and turn them into professions. And that the key word we keep coming across is successful. We'll find those ways through education and employment to have successful lives for our families.
Outstanding. And I think it's very apropos that, you're just not focused on somebody that is going to the traditional post-secondary route of going to college, which is extremely important. But, as we're putting this place back together, it's taken a tremendous amount of people in the trades, and there's work going on right now as we do this interview with the fire monitoring system, that we really need to put that emphasis on. Everybody's got a role to play, and we need to help out with everybody in order to be successful in this community. I've told my daughter, and she doesn't want to listen to this at all, I'm like, you go to HVAC, plumbing, or electrical, you're going to be set. But she has other other passions beyond that right there. So May 6th is this wonderful event that's going to be held here at the Grand. But preceding that is the first Friday of 2023. Any plans for the class of 76 for the first Friday?
Yes, we want to be a part of that. We think this is a great opportunity to, to be present and to let people know, this is happening if they hadn't got their ticket already. But also it helps us to encourage those who live away from St. Mary's. This is a weekend opportunity, not just a one night, 5 hours. This is a whole weekend opportunity because the great work that the community is doing on putting together the First Fridays. Personally, I haven't attended one, but I've heard outstanding
They're
things
amazing
about it, and we look forward to being a part of that on that Friday.
Awesome. And that particular night, Jeff, the band Exploit Deluxe is going to be performing, and they do a lot of 70s. And the deluxe aspect of Exploit is they include the horn section. Okay. So back to the wide aspect of 70s music. So you may hear Chicago being performed out there, and then
maybe blood, sweat, and tears. Even.
Yep. So that'll be a special time. That's May 5th, the first Friday, and just one more great way with all the people that are downtown to plug your May 6th event if they haven't purchased that ticket yet. So let's lead into that. How does one find out more information about this event, purchasing tickets, and anything they need to know about May 6th?
Well, we are putting together a marketing format so that people will be able to find out, hopefully through social media if they're a part of that. There's a lot of us from the 70s that may not be a part of that, so we're going to do a lot of footwork. We have a lot of members of our class that have taken upon themselves that they've identified classmates, other people. We've contacted the representatives of all the different classes in the 70s, and we're going to do the old school way, word of mouth also.
Yep.
And we're going to set up an online ticketing. Hopefully today or sometime soon, so that we can get that out there so people can take advantage of that.
Excellent. So be looking forward to additional information coming regarding the May 6th. Is there a specific name? Party in the 70s?
Well, we keep going around and around about that because everybody has a special name. We kind of want to use Keep Living the Legacy.
Perfect.
And that kind of comes from I don't know if you know the 80s film Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey's first really big picture, and it's about the graduating class of 76 or the year of 76, and he at the end of the movie he uses the phrase "just keep living," and from a 70s perspective, it kind of puts that decade into perspective because you enter into that decade with the Vietnam War and everything is going on, and you move into people in 75 and 76. The draft has gone away, and now it's about living.
Yes.
And what does that look like? And how do we do that? And I think that's what we hope to encourage, others to do in 2023 is finding that way.
So keep living the legacy. I love it. I love it. You do have a few sponsorship possibilities with helping to support getting this project off the ground, and I love some of the names that you'd come up with. Another Brick in the Wall is one of the opportunities, and I think maybe like a $70 sponsorship level for there. And if somebody would like to find out more information, they just reach out to the Class of 76 page, I guess. And
yes, reach out to the Class of 76 page. You can check with me. I'm going to have information with my contact information and things like that. So hopefully you'll be able to find your way to us. We have donation letters that we're going to be taking to different businesses. We're trying to, again, try to do the old school way, give that good feel, and kind of be able to explain what's happening and what this is all about. Because like you said, I think it's really important. This isn't just about, this is about us giving back.
Yeah.
And encouraging the other classes. And because we met with school officials, and we look forward to meeting with the city officials this year in 2023 about the needs.
Mm-hmm.
And they really met with some of the things that we have been talking about and we're concerned about, and they've got some really good ideas, but they're a little beyond just one class taking. And so this is going to give us an opportunity to partner and maybe take care of some of those, because there were so many wonderful programs that were a part of the 70s that I know made a difference in my life. I know you have the event on March 25th.
Yes.
And included in
Writer Talk.
Included in that is Floyd Keith.
Yes.
Floyd Keith, he made such a difference in our life with city recreation that they had in the summer. And I just think, finding those ways with the 2023 spin to it, I think can be. And so if we can come together and find how we can support that, because we're in that time of life where that's what we can do.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a great opportunity.
Well, I greatly appreciate you and your members of your class for taking the initiative to set up your fund to help out not only MHS graduates, but just the community, and also probably the deeper meaning behind it of others stepping in line and doing similar activities to help benefit this community. And what you just said is kind of the mantra of the community project of bringing the Grand back alive, that one cannot do it alone, but many working together can be grand. And so I think you'll get a great snowball effect out of what you're doing here. So get your tickets for that May 6th event that's going to be held right here at the Grand. The party's going to be slamming and out of sight. Before I let you go, we always have to play the Rider Nation Station Word Association game, Jeff.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to give you something that's relevant to St. Mary's, and you get a few seconds to think about it and give me the first word that comes to your mind.
Okay.
And then I'll have you expand upon that a little bit later. All right. The first beach.
The first speech.
Beach.
Oh, the first beach.
The first beach.
Cruising.
And expand upon that a little bit.
Well, I mean, in the 70s, we were all about cruising. I mean, I don't know how many times we went through a whole tank, maybe a tank and a half of gas, cruising through downtown, maybe around the pool, around Whitlings, but it always included the second, and the first beach was always the best beach.
Yep. Yeah. I'm 13 years behind you, and cruising was still a little bit of a thing at that point in time as well. I don't let my kids cruise today at gas being $3.50 a gallon.
Exactly.
Second Rider Nation Station Word Association game, Neely's Diner.
French fries and strawberry phosphates. I mean,
and expand?
You
kind of broke the rules right there, but that's fine.
Well, they went together. I mean, that's what you'd, after a sporting event, after, something that's happening after school, up to Neely's you went, maybe use a phone to get a ride home.
Yep.
But if not, just get their fries, which was so good. And personally, I love the strawberry phosphates.
As you just said, something that everybody did when Neely's was around, and what a great marketing scheme, I think, by Neely's of having that phone available to call home. So now you got kids that are always coming in to Neely's and maybe spending a little bit of money at the diner or whatever. But, yeah, what a great marketing scheme. And so this is before kids actually had a phone right in their hand that could constantly communicate with their parents. Or the other fun thing was the payphone in the hallway by the football locker room.
Okay.
So maybe it was put in after 76.
I think it was after 76.
So what we would do there is we would do the collect call and hang up if we didn't want to run over to Neely's. Okay. We're sitting in an auditorium. So the next Rider Nation Station Word Association game is the 1923 high school auditorium.
I'd say after game dances.
Okay.
I mean, I think one of the highlights of growing up in the 70s is that we got to see so many live music, live bands. We had after game dances after every football, after every basketball game. That's where everybody went to, and the music was great. There's some really good musicians, rock musicians that have came out of the 70s, out of playing at those after game dances.
So you're talking live music, not DJ music.
No, live music. And also we had a community youth center back there, and they used to have dances, and the bands played at those. And, I mean, it was so good. And, you'd also look forward to, those slow songs that, guys could pick out the girl they were dating that week. So...
Yep. Excellent. And to our final Rider Nation Station Word Association game, St. Mary's, Ohio.
Home. I think that's no matter where, I live in Brookville, Ohio now.
Okay.
So many of our classes are in Florida and just all over the country. But I think, we get a great turnout for our reunions, and it's because when you think of St. Mary's, you think of home. And there's something special about home.
Yep.
That puts you, I think, in pace with what the world's supposed to be. And so that's what St. Mary's, Ohio means.
Excellent. Well, job well done on the word association game there, Jeff. Well, we have come to the end of our show. It is our hope at Rider Nation Station this podcast did entertain, educate, enlighten, and elevate your perspective about St. Mary's, Ohio. We hope a story has been told that augments the development of relationships old and new to promote growth for all who do, did, and will call St. Mary's, Ohio home. I hope you think positively about our town, the town we did not inherit from our ancestors, but the town we borrowed from our grandchildren. Peace to you, my fellow St. Marians, past, present, and future, always and always.
Thanks for joining us for another Rider Nation Station presentation, brought to you through the generosity of the following fine sponsors: Buffalo Wild Wings, Miller's Funeral Home, Eagles Lodge 767, Rabel's Auto Service, Plus One Professionals, Hoglays Equipment Rentals, Midway Trailers, American Legion Post 323, Albert Sporting Goods, Family Audiology, Speckman Automotive, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Spees Chiropractic, Varsity Lanes, Minster Bank, VFW Post 9289, Quinary Pizzeria, Fowler's TV, and Lock Performance.